We'll go ahead and call the Monday, January the 25th, 2010 Public Safety Committee to order, and I'll entertain a motion for the minutes of last month.
So moved.
We got a motion, do I have a second? And a second. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. First on the agenda is the Laverne Rescue Squad.
How's everybody doing?
Good, how about you?
Wonderful.
Need one.
Good number? This is a copy of the last quarter and goes over the calls that we've had for the year. The very first page is the total of 2009 calls. The next sheet is a quarterly sheet. It goes over October, November, and December. And then the following sheets are those months that coincide with that.
On the, out of the 229 vehicle accidents in 2009, do you have how many that you actually done?
Off the top of
Extrication
my
on-
head, probably about 6.
About 6.
And do y'all need a copy of the equipment list that we have? Equipment?
Have you got one?
Sure. I'll just let y'all pass them out. Somebody else can go? Yeah. And we've got one of our trucks in the shop right now. We're changing it out from a 1992 chassis to a 2009 chassis.
So you're gonna use the same body, just use a
Yes.
different cab chassis.
Right. We took bids on that. It ran from, 113,000 to move it over down to 18,000
$113,000 to move the body over?
to move the box over to the new body. And that's different companies bidding on.
That's the box and labor and all.
Right.
Oh,
Box,
box
paint
and I
job.
fixed it.
No. It's
The
key.
the ones that are
job.
18,000,
Turnkey.
you pretty familiar with them?
The 18,000, they didn't have insurance,
Yeah.
so we weren't able. I wouldn't even, go that route.
How much did you actually wind up?
It's probably going to be about 35,000 with the changes and everything else that we're doing.
Curiosity, your fundraisers,
Mhm.
about how much in a year do you make off those? 5,000, 8,000?
Probably about our pitcher solicitation is about 15,000.
Okay.
Our ham breakfast maybe about 2.
Okay. And then,
A whole lot of work for not
Yeah,
not a
but-
lot of reward,
Right.
but it's a good social thing for the public.
and keeps your name in.
Right.
I mean,
Out there, too.
2,000 per breakfast. The whole year? That's all y'all make?
Right.
Wow.
Profit.
Wow.
Now, we can jack the price up, and we can make our profits a lot better. Did you buy the country ham lately?
What's the difference between, see, it's $2,000 for every profit from
Right.
country ham
Right.
per year?
Approximately. I mean,
What-
some years are better than
And
others.
what other fundraisers have you got?
A pitcher solicitation drive,
How much y'all make on that?
about 15,000.
And so those are the two that you have?
We've got different things. We've done motorcycle rides, a golf tournament, things like that.
And then how much is your annual operating budget?
I think this past year was 109,000 is what we turned in. Now, you have to work with what you make.
Right. But then you get money from
We
county
might,
and Laverne.
right, we might have an operating budget of about 82 to 92 actual.
And how much you get from the city of Laverne?
40,000,
And then, in other words, it 40,000,
30.
30 with county.
Are you able to get grants other places for your trucks and stuff like this? or
We
what?
apply for a lot of grants. It's not a lot of return right now. And a lot of it's the economy.
Mhm.
As far as your fundraising, how come y'all don't do any better?
And we don't charge, like the prices of Cracker Barrel and Shoney's and everything else.
Yeah, but 2,000 for the whole year, that's all y'all? Yeah,
Well, we might push 3, depending on which year. And
wow.
And how often are they?
we have ours, every month except, June, July, August, September.
You have one in September?
Old Timers Day, we do have one in September, if it's Old Timers Day. Depends on when they move in.
Yeah.
If, you know.
Okay.
And our next town breakfast will be February the 13th.
From 6 to 10
6 to 10
on Gamble Lane?
on Gamble Lane, 141 Gamble Lane
On
in
Sat-
Laverne.
On Saturday, February the 13th.
Correct.
Okay.
Getting the plug in.
At the end.
And I'll try to get it into the county's website.
Yeah, I got the right city this time.
But we'll take the plugs wherever we can get them.
All right, is there any more questions for Darrell on the report? If there's none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the report from the Laverne Rescue Squad.
Motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. All right, thank you.
Have a good night.
You too. Emergency Management Agency.
Already handed out the report. There's a couple of things I want to bring your attention to on the report. One of the first ones, and some of these are a duplication on what Larry has. The structure fire where we had the fatality in Double Springs Road. The local, on 1/4, the planning of the local communication committee meeting at the EOC, and that's representatives from all the municipalities and the communication stuff trying to come together with what kind of equipment or what they're going to ask for in the 2010 UASC Homeland Security Grant. Also, we had a meeting with the response committee doing the same thing, and it's been requested from this committee to bring you information of what the different committees have requested, and we'll be able to do that as soon as they finalize their report, and then we'll be able to turn into you a listing of what was approved by the UASC. So you'll know both what we asked for and what we finally got approved for. And then there's two other things. We had a fairly large boat, 42 to 48 foot cabin cruiser that burned up on. That was on the 20th, yes, sir, the 20th, and we had quite a bit of environmental concerns there, the fuel, oil, stuff in the water, and first response came out for the cleanup on there. Other than that, most everything else is just pretty standard. And
On
then,
the 20th, you had an oil spill at Buchanan and Old Nashville Highway in Laverne, yeah.
yes, sir.
Was there a wreck, or did it roll off the back of a truck, or
Larry
what?
actually responded to that. He can tell you
I
about
responded
it.
to that. What happened is we had a 18-wheeler that tried to come down Buchanan and turn around right there at the boxing ring. and he hung his oil pan, tore it off, and proceeded to go all around the block. And then when he started across Old Nashville Highway, the motor seized up on him, and thank goodness he was up on an incline, so he just pushed his clutch in and let it roll back off out of the middle of the intersection, and we had to shut everything down. Worked with the Laverne Fire Department, and then we called first, well, it was actually AS in to come in to clean up. But it was a pretty big mess. Had trenches in the grass where you'd run off in the grass and had oil in it about that deep. And oil, of course, it was raining that day, so that made it worse. So it was a pretty big mess.
Was the road shut down to
Mhm.
clean it up?
As a matter of fact, we had that whole block shut down.
People don't like that either.
No.
But safety, we have to do it for a period of time. And then Larry has, on his report, the summaries on the fire calls and water reports for the year of 2009.
If you notice my report, it's just a summary of some of the things I've done this month. The first thing is, unfortunately, I responded to a fatality in a structure fire on Double Springs Road. And I just want to commend the sheriff's office and Kittrell and Lascassas and other fire department. Everybody really worked smoothly together because of the unfortunate somebody losing their life, and we just really work real close to Randy Gross, who does all of our fire investigations in the county. And I was really pleased with how everybody worked together and everything went smooth, and we were able to take care of that incident. And then we had another structure fire, which is on Monday night out on Holly Grove Road, and of course it was about 12 degrees, so it made it very difficult to set up fire operations. I had another call on the 14th, and I responded to it because they come across dispatch as a possibility of someone still inside, but unfortunately they were able to escape, and the structure was pretty much a total loss. It was an older home. We're at this time, I'm setting up a rookie school to basic 64-hour class for the volunteers to go through. Lascassas has decided to sponsor this. They're paying the $175 fee. Of course, this is extended to an invitation to all the county firefighters. And on the last item on the page here is when I leave here tonight, I'm going to Kittrell to program some of their radios where they meet the standards of state interoperability to make sure they have all the channels on there they need. I also met with one of the instructors today that's going to help me teach this rookie class, and we're working to put together a team of 10 instructors where if any fire department in this county needs a class or wants a class, I'll have a team of 10 I can pick from and send them out there on whatever weekend they need to help them do any kind of training they want to need. We're going to have the availability to teach the pump operations, the rapid intervention teams, also, of course, the 64-hour basic firefighting class.
Of those 10, are they all with the volunteers?
They'll all be, well, there's some of them with the volunteer departments, but they all are state certified and certified through the State Firefighting Commission. So they are certified instructors. And what we plan to do is be able to set this up where all these classes, including this basic 64-hour class we're doing, they will receive certificates from the Tennessee Fire Academy. So it will be sponsored by them. Also, I'll cover that on the training. The next sheet is the water report and also list their training hours.
That's the roll-up for the year,
Yeah.
2009.
And then, of course, the water usage per department is the next page. And then the next page is a spreadsheet I've done on the rookie school we're going to be putting on, and it shows the dates and then what each class will be taught that night. This will be finished, I'll have each instructor's name down there on the instructor's line, but it's gonna be me and a gentleman, named Logan Gill, who's also a, instructor through Murfreesboro Fire Department. He's also on the SORT team, and he's gonna be having me teach this class, and I'll probably have a few other guest instructors. But this is a breakdown of the nights and what's gonna be taught on those classes and the hours required. It's actually a 64-hour class, but we're going to be doing a little bit more than that on the hands-on practicals, and they're probably going to be closer to 70 hours. That'll be set up through Tennessee Fire School, and basically, after they come out of rookie school, it usually takes 2 or 3 months for them to be able to get on the list, because as soon as they schedule a class, they fill up pretty quick. So we don't have that capabilities here now, so they have to still go through Tennessee Fire School.
Speaking of that, the burn building at Kittrell, what would we need to do to get that compliant with NFPA?
Well, they poured the concrete in the floor this week, where they tore up the wooden floors, and I think they're going to paint it. It would take putting the fire-resistant walls in there to be able to keep them from deteriorating, from having a live burn, the thermal barriers. It would take that, and I also think you have to have a heat sensor in there that will tell you when it gets to a certain temperature. That way you're able to control it. And then plus you'd have to have all the piping system in there for the propane gas for your fire to be able, and then have those controls to be able to control that. And I haven't looked into it, investigated, but it'd probably be close 70,000, 80,000, I would think, to make it compliant and have all the safety factors and features that were worked into it. But we've got a maze trailer up there where they can go through the maze, and when they go through that, they have to take their pack off several times and redon it. That's a good training facility. We rappelled off the top of that thing. There's a lot of training capabilities. You can do ladders, ropes and ladders. Really, we can do just about everything we need to do there except for live burn. And we will be utilizing it too during this rookie school.
The structure wasn't designed as a live burn facility, and that's why it would take quite a bit more to add that into
And
it.
that's why I asked what it would take, because I know it takes a while to get these live burns. It's 6, 7 months sometimes before they can get their 22-hour live burn over at the academy, and
Well, and then you have to have your instructors have to be state certified for live burn fires too. So I think they started out as a good thing, but I don't really think they calculated the cost on what it was going to cost to build a structure where they could actually do live firefighting inside of it. But anyway, if this works out very well, and I think it will, because I want to have it real planned out and organized, I'd like for our office to put on at least 4 rookie schools per year, 3 to 4. And because, state law requires now that they all have the basic 64-hour class, and we're trying to do everything we can to bring that to the county at a minimal cost as we can to the firefighters. So, like I say, where it was like $70 per person with this new handoff class, you pay a one-time fee of $175 and provide the instructors, and it's actually free to the firefighters. And like I say, Last Gas has been nice enough to pay that fee for this class. So that'll be starting March the 1st. The next class is the next sheet. Is the training for the year. We've got it planned up through May right now. Last weekend we had it was a Tennessee Fire Academy class on first response to arson, and sad to say I only had 11 people show up for that one. That was taught by two gentlemen from the Tennessee State Bomb and Arson team who do a lot of the arson investigations across the state. And it was a very, very, very good class, very interesting. All the ones that showed up really enjoyed it. And I think word has really gotten around that the ones that didn't sign up really missed a good class. The class for February is Incident Safety Officer. That is also sponsored by the Tennessee Fire Academy. And then the one in March, the Intro to Pumps class, that is also a Tennessee Fire Academy class. So all these things we're setting up for them, they can get certification by attending these classes through the Fire Academy.
The one in April and May, the one that's written, part 1 and part 2, Was that just awareness level?
Well, what that is, that's Terry Smith's teaching that through EMA, and it's pretty much, yeah, it's a basic RIT. Of course, the way we're set up in the county, you could have a rapid intervention team, but it would have to be a situation where those certain people would have to be paged out and respond to all working structure fires. But basically, what we're trying to do is give the firefighters the skills and abilities that if they do go down the side of a structure, that they have enough training, by hopefully, to get themselves out.
Other training, yeah, we can get to.
On the training sheet, if you can see, the county totals down at the bottom, that's the total hours for the year of 2009 of what training they did themselves. Now, I don't know in these numbers if they include the training that they do through the EMA, but I think this pretty much is their training hours at their departments. And this is for the whole year.
You had asked before whether or not they're doing other training, and
Right.
this is that record, you know, that shows that.
A lot of the departments train, some of them train once a month, some of them train once a week, some of them train two or three times a week.
In the agreement that we approved. I'm going off memory, I shouldn't do that. What was the number of hours?
40 hours a year.
40 hours a year, okay.
That was based off the State Fire Commission standards.
The reason I was asking, because I seen one with 93 and one with 49, and I didn't know, and one with 97, I didn't know what that number was.
Why is Rutherford so skewed versus everybody else?
They train, what they're claiming too, they send a lot of people to the Tennessee Fire Academy, basically, but on their department, they don't even allow a firefighter on the scene of a fire until they've gone through the 64-hour basic fire and their 22-hour live burn. So, and then you have a lot of them going through that 10-week recruit class that really builds the hours up there. Matter of fact, last year, if I'm not mistaken, Rutherford actually won the award through the Tennessee Fire Academy for the most firefighters sent to the scope for training hours.
That's correct.
So, I mean, a lot of the fire departments allow people on the fire scene if they hadn't been on the department a day, a week, or whatever. But one of Rutherford's standard operating procedures is they are not allowed on the fire ground until after they have completed that basic 64-hour class and 22-hour live burn, which puts them over 80 hours of training. They want to make sure that if somebody's on the fire ground, they know what they're doing. That's just the standard they set.
Well, with that, with District 25 was 63.5, but they flowed the most water usage by far of any of the others, except for 31. But their calls are not. I would expect their call volume to be
Yeah,
higher.
higher.
Too.
The only thing I can think is that's also including training hours, and they have to record their water usage when they do training too. So if they had a pump operations class or fire streams, they would have flowed a lot of water.
Must be the only class they do. It must be the only class they do.
Gets hot in the summer.
And that's pretty much all I've got.
Anybody else got any questions? Hearing none, I entertain a motion.
So no.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Is that all you got? All right. Pause.
This is our December report. Not much out of the ordinary on the December report. numbers are still a little low, which is a good thing on our intakes. We're at 584 total for the month of December. We had 196 adoptions, 355 animals put down, 46 animals reclaimed by owners. Adoption reclaim percentage was 39% for the month, and the euthanasia percentage was 58%. Had a total of 2,290 people visit the shelter looking for a lost or new pet. The next page is the number of calls, requests for service. That was 1,300 with carryover, and number of calls responded to completed was 1,326. And then you have the mileage. The third page is the fiscal to date, July 1st through December 31st. Total intake, 4,651. Total adoptions, 984. Number of animals euthanized, 3,165. 293 animals reclaimed by their owner. We have a 27% adoption reclaim rate, 67% euthanasia rate. Number of requests for service since July 1 is 8,696. You have a breakdown as far as where those calls are coming in from. And then the mileage for the officers since July 1. On the rabies exposure and bite report for the month of December, we had 21 bites reported. 8 of those animals were tested. We had no positives. We had one other rabies exposure that was tested. It was negative as well. Our bites are recorded on a calendar year, so the total bites from January through December 31st was 397 total bites. 135 of those animals were tested. No positives on the bites. On the other rabies exposure, we had 60 reported, 58 tested, and 12 positive. And then the last few pages are just the comparison graphs for the intake, adoptions, and calls coming in. And it's still pretty much right on track with previous years. Didn't go quite as low. We've already started to see that starting to peak up on our intake. We should start seeing a little bit of an increase the next few months leading into the spring and summer. Hopefully on the adoptions that'll continue to go up as well. And then of course the activities, we didn't really dip down as far as we had in previous years in the November, December months, and we're due to start climbing back up on those calls as well.
Any questions for Tracy on the report?
Yeah. Tracy, on the euthanize, we up on the contract every year, or do we pay so much for every animal that we have to put down? Or,
The euthanasia is handled in the shelter.
excuse me?
The euthanasia is handled in the shelter. Are you talking about the disposal?
Right.
The disposal is, I think we're coming up, that's probably due to be bid this next budget year. We were locked into a 5-year contract with all 10 for the disposal. I'm not exactly sure when that's due, but I'm pretty sure it's coming up this next budget.
Called, so in the neighborhood from last year.
It's, it was locked in at $65,000 a year.
Yeah, it was a couple-year contract too, wasn't it?
Mhm.
We had a 1 year
And then
agreement
it
for the next
extended.
two, yeah. And he does more than just from you, doesn't he?
Yes, sir. He does all of ours and any roadkill on the county roadways. Mm-hmm.
Any more questions on her report? If not, I entertain a motion on the report.
Move to approve.
Is there a motion and then there's a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I've got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I know we had spoke 2-3 months ago, whatever, about livestock in subdivisions. Have you found anything else?
Looking over that, and also had some conversations with codes. I guess they were looking in on it as well. And as far as from an animal control standpoint, you really need to determine why it is you're wanting to not allow those animals? Is it safety? Is it health? I mean, because there are already laws in place as far as neglect, nuisance items like that, running at large. So until we can establish what exactly the cause is, from what I'm getting from ag, it's going to be real hard to determine what would be the appropriate amount of land or how we
Yeah.
could go about
I
regulating
mean,
whether or not someone could have
Goats
a goat
in, goats
or
in a
a
subdivision
pig or
is
whatever.
it's what it is. In a 200 house subdivision,
That's how big is the lots.
or it's 15 lots,
How many goats? Lots.
lots of them.
Can't get them to sit still long enough to count them up.
Must be somebody
That's where I
retired
am
from
right
the
now.
Okay.
Navy, right?
To tell me an exact number that would be acceptable for the size. There are a lot of other factors that play in, and they say it, you need to determine what it is you're wanting to control, whether you just don't want them allowed because you don't want them allowed, or whether, from an animal control standpoint, whether it's due to health or safety.
To me, a goat needs to be on a farm and not in a incorporated subdivision. My opinion ought to be everybody else's, but
That's what I have so far, and I can send you over some of that information.
all right, if you could keep trying to find that, because I think that's something that we need to work on, because, you know, I live in a subdivision, I wouldn't want goats beside me, and, you know, if I lived on a farm, I'd want them there, you know.
I will continue to look into that and pass on any information I find for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have anything for Tracy?
Good article in the paper, by the way.
Thank you. That was a good article.
Let's see, we got a motion on the, we're done with that? Okay.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, drug court. She must not be here. Wheel tax officers report. How you doing tonight, Bart?
Great, gentlemen. I don't have anything up front unless y'all have something you'd like to discuss or bring up.
On your, the wheel tax on, it's got on here on your school stuff.
Yes, sir.
You've got 18 of them at
Mhm.
Riverdale High School.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's,
That was last month and this month, 18.
have all those been,
No, sir. Matter of fact, we was looking at today. I think 11 out of 18 is corrected. Out of that 18.
how, I guess, is that coming from the first of the year? When we had, the school system was helping you out?
Now, I'm still getting some every month from each different
Each school?
Each school, yeah.
So they're doing a good job as far as turning that stuff into you then. That's good.
They're continuing, yes, sir.
Over here on, in December, it talks about, actually, they're all decreased in, for December '09, the wheel tax, $50,000. I know in our meeting that, we had with our state legislatures, I brought up to those, representatives that concerning the bill that, they passed at the end of the year, last year with Nissan.
Yes, sir.
And I even told them, I think it's about $400,000 to $500,000 when it comes to sales tax and wheel tax revenue. Do you have any idea what that may be?
I went to the mayor, I talked to the mayor last week and stuff, and I've been trying to, I have not been able to find out anything, how they're doing or what they're doing at Nissan until a week or so ago when I went to the mayor and I found a generic tag, wheel tax sticker from Nissan, that's one of their, that's the new generic wheel tax sticker that they're issuing. Talking to the mayor and with Linda Keller, which is the taxpayers and the vehicle service division for the state of Tennessee, going back and look at, since this went into effect in August of last year, we hadn't been receiving any funding. Okay?
Right.
After talking to her today and got Senator Keltron involved in this, we found out that the state of Tennessee has been holding $21,824 of revenue that they turned in on wheel tax. It's been laying there, didn't know where it went.
That Nissan turned in?
That Nissan turned in. Since, well, the figures are, August was $605, September was $2,001, October was $5,126, November $6,670, $150, and in December was $7,150. Total $21,824. As talking to her today, they said we would have a check Friday or Monday for that money that coming back.
So
to Rusk County.
Nissan is actually,
Nissan is in the business, is in that business, and that's their generic wheel tax sticker that they're putting out. Now, after I found that, I went back and run that tag. I was unable to pull it up in our system, you know, see who it belonged to. So I got on the state system, and the way they're marketing their vehicles to their customer, to their employees is Nissan North. That's how they're listing to them. And they're resting it in Nissan North at 983 Nissan Boulevard, Smyrna. And in other words, if you're an employee of theirs and you go down and you get a lease vehicle, they'll lease you a vehicle, put the tag on it with the generic wheel tax sticker. You've got that vehicle for 1 year. You turn that car in at the end of that 1 year, they give you another car with another new tag, sell that car wholesale, that's how they sell theirs. You know. So if the way we was trying to track it, if you buy a car, if you lease one through them, where does that money, where does it go? Well, our sheet comes out with no name on it like this.
right.
So we don't know. So that's why I had to go through the state system and try to find out how they was doing it. And as I understand it, this is the way they're doing it, through Nissan North. According to her, Linda Keller, as of January 1, 2010, the state registration and titles are waived. Now that's for Rutherford County, that's about $8 per vehicle that we get. 10 at the most, according to her, but 8 for sure. According to her, Nissan will pay us the $52.50 for every vehicle that's registered in this county.
So Nissan is going to pay us
That's
the wheel tax.
the way that she advised us today. Now, and the mayor and I have been working on this. That's her say, you know.
Bart is thinking that this $21,000 is wheel tax numbers.
Right.
Dollars have been placed over there in escrow, you might say.
Mm-hmm.
But the title of this is title and renewal fees combined.
Mm-hmm.
It's, here's the new state code right here. It clearly says they're exempt from sales tax. It clearly says that they're exempt from all kinds of licensure fees. All of that's exempt. This is the wheel tax exemption statement right here. And this leaves a little waffle room. In that it says, any OEM headquarters company may make application to the Commissioner of Revenue to be exempt from the motor vehicle privilege tax imposed by this section or by a private act. Provided, however, that the exemption granted under this subdivision shall apply only with respect to OEM headquarters company vehicles. This law says they do have the ability to be exempt from wheel tax, but it has to be apparently approved by the Commissioner of Revenue. This may be the piece that they haven't actually got done yet.
Right.
These other two requires nobody's permission, they're exempt by law. So that's where we are. He has uncovered substantially what they're doing, but they've been doing this since it says since August, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, I bring that up because, because I know that night they told us that they thought they could bring this thing back up. I've been told since then that they can't bring that up, that it's law, to get it changed.
Here is law. They would have to amend this law. These three pieces, of course, the one that's affecting us most is the wheel tax piece. But I don't know if they officially have Commissioner Revenue approval, consent to be exempt from the wheel tax yet. That's the only thing that is different from the other pieces.
And you spoke with Senator Ketchum. Is there any way that did he get any indication about if they could speak to the Commissioner of Finance, Revenue,
I
about?
think Senator Kitchen just got involved in this.
I don't think they're quite up to speed on this yet, to be honest with you.
You know, and matter of fact, we couldn't get anything until we got him involved. You know,
Right.
I could find this generic wheel tax sticker, but I couldn't find out who it belonged to. You know, it's not in our system. You know, but you see, everything's under that's Rutherford County.
Yeah.
You know, another question we have: if you live in Bedford County, do they put a Bedford County strip on it, or generic Bedford County sticker? Well, of course, they don't have wheel tax. Does Bedford County get anything? We know that we're going to lose the $8 to $10.50. We know we're losing that, and that's a small fortune to lose. But the wheel tax is a pretty good bite to lose.
Right.
You know.
We're losing the local option sales tax.
How much does that amount to? And is the state you losing that tax sales tax also?
Yes, sir. That's completely exempt. They don't. That's.
And this is only for if they lease from Smyrna here to their own employees.
Yeah.
And what if that same employee keeps the same car the next year? Then they don't have to renew it?
Well, he can't. He turns that car in the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
That tag is deleted. He gets another car with another tag.
Right.
Went over to Missions, and Missions is their figures are down too because they want to wear their loss of revenue is.
Do they have to go through a mission zone?
They don't have to go through because
It's a new
MSO,
car.
it's a new car. Every time it's a new car, so Missions is out.
Yeah.
You know, of course, that's a small fee for us, but still, we're trying to track where it's going and.
Last I heard, we get about 25 cents out of that $10 fee.
Yeah.
So
It's nominal.
It's not.
That's another state contract.
Yes,
They're telling us we have to do it, and here's the fee.
But at least it's one they gave us that we break even on.
So we don't know what monies they're handing back to us. We don't know really what these are yet.
Right.
And we don't know if this is going to continue.
We
$6,000
don't
or
know if that's all
$7,000 a
either.
month.
So y'all are working with Senator Ketchum in the
Senator
state.
Ketchum and the mayor, we're trying to find out exactly just where we stand, Some thought that they couldn't do this, but like the mayor said, it's been done. It's passed.
Yes, sir.
It's passed.
We knew that.
Yeah.
When did the laws come into effect? Were they July 1?
July 1, I think most of them typically are.
So evidently,
They started doing a little bit of this
the
in
state started
August.
holding money, hoping they could write a check back to Nissan, and we would never see that until you question it.
After she went back through this, she said, well, we got $21,824 down there in the account, and we don't, it's due to Rutherford County,
And normally in a month, like that's the month of August, or is that?
Yeah.
That's
That first little month, they probably just got started with their little program, only leased a few
And normally
vehicles.
the title and all that registration is usually the smallest fees there is, not counting the wheel tax.
Yeah, we're not sure this is anything except title and renewal
Right,
fees here.
that's all,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the wheel tax
Yeah.
may be gone, which
Right.
means that the Commissioner of Revenue had to approve their request to exempt from that, but
Like I told them that
June.
night, it only affected, it was good for Hamilton County to get the Volkswagen, that's good for them. But it affected one other county in this whole state, us.
Maybe it's one thing.
Cars right
Yeah.
now. So
Maybe it's one thing now, too, that we've talked to Hamilton County, of course, they hadn't started, Volkswagen hadn't started there. Now, he's aware of it too, so he's not, he wants his piece too, before he even gets hit. We've
Right.
already got hit,
Right.
So, if,
What's the state law as far as other counties offering our wheel tax stickers? Where they weren't offering the wheel tax sticker, but they were offering renewal registrations.
Right. They
Which
was-
is against state law, right?
They was losing their $8 or $11, well, it's $8 to us, but total's $10.50.
Yeah, but if somebody lived in McMinnville, and they lived in Rutherford, but they worked in McMinnville, and they just happened to go through there and re-register their vehicle, and they were giving it to them, did we not find a law that stated they weren't allowed to do that?
They're right. They can't say.
Why is the state exempt for their own law of issuing these same stuff?
It's beyond me.
It's their incentive to attract Volkswagen to locate in Tennessee.
This bill was passed the last week of the
Last day of-
legislature
last
last
day.
year,
Day
and,
of session.
yeah, it was their cafeteria bill, pork bill, if you want, all these things that come in.
Suggesting they didn't read it?
Well,
I'm not suggesting anything.
I can understand
Some
that,
did, some
that,
didn't, I would say.
I can understand trying to bring jobs to Hamilton County. I mean, I have no grief about that. That's fine and good. But what I have a problem is how it affects us here in Rutherford County when we have nothing to do or deal with Hamilton County. You know, that's my problem with it. And from what I understand, they can't go back and change it because of the type of law or the way that they actually done it, or the way the governor done it, from what I understand.
Well, I mean, it's a regular law, but it was passed as a technical corrections, and it included a whole lot of things,
Right.
including this little piece. This was just one of 40 or 50 pages of stuff.
Right.
They'd have to go back and change the definition of OEM manufacturer to exclude Nissan or to exclude what used to be Saturn or what have you. Right now, any OEM, which is original equipment manufacturer that makes a fully operational car in this state, is exempt.
What if we were to do this? What if the county, to start here tonight, public safety, send to the steering committee, ask them to send to our delegation to ask for that? Is that something that
I mean, certainly you can do that, and you do have time, but you need to go ahead and do it.
guys, I tell you what, it's enough money, and we're sitting here, we can't pay our employees, give them a raise for the last 2 years. We're having to build schools and stuff, and then Nissan is they employ a lot of good employees in this county, but you know, we need help, and I hate keep putting it on the backs of the taxpayers on property taxes like we've had to do in the past, and we're looking for other revenues, and then the state comes in here and cuts our throat again with this here in Rutherford County when they're trying to take care of it and help another county, which is good, but they killed us on the matter, in my opinion.
Well, too, and every vehicle that comes out of there, they travel our roads.
Exactly.
And, you know, they're using everything that we asked each individual to pay for.
Well, I'll make a motion that we send a request to the Steering and Legislative Committee that the bill, the Tennessee Code annotated that refers to the OEM vehicle of origin be amended to the best way for Rutherford County to include just Volkswagen and Hamilton County, or however steering determines is the best way.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor. Is there a second? And a second. All right, discussion. And I tell you something too, you know, I know the mayor will be at steering that night. Marty, if you could come steering that night as well, in case we have some questions.
Well, our office is not gonna let up, because we asked you for budget, and our budget is down because our fees are not coming in, and we got to operate, so we're not gonna drop it. We're gonna keep working to see where we can, bring some revenue back instead of letting it go out,
They pulled the one already this year about the mental health, when the judges deemed
The minimum
the juveniles we get to pay now, because the state gave us the pleasure of doing that. I guess that's the
Right.
way to put it this year.
All right, we got a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any more discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say.
Call the roll. Is it budget? Are we talking this as being a budget now?
All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed? It's unanimous.
Or do you know what the Tennessee fleet sticker was created for? Just for this, or?
As I understand, that's theirs. That was it, showed that they're,
So this was a specially created wheel tax sticker
Right.
that the state did for this.
now, how we've done it, how we do it in it, we're still doing it. Other words, this instance, Bell South, they're a big outfit. Okay, Bell South buys all of their tags through the state of Tennessee. Okay, we send our wheel tax stickers to the state. They take that fee, mail us a check back. Same way with UPS. UPS, anything's out of Rutherford County. We mail them the wheel tax stickers, you know.
What's to say if AT&T or UPS doesn't have a good lobby, go down there and get the same thing done all across the whole damn. You know, I won't put no ideas in nobody's head, but
This,
I mean, you don't ever know.
as I was telling the mayor, this is a third party that's doing this. I mean, I don't know what our wheel tax costs us to have made up, but it's not cheap, you know.
He said, they've hired someone, it appears,
Yeah.
to actually administer this program for
Right,
them.
right.
They also have the right to have the state of Tennessee produce a plate, a special plate, which they haven't done yet.
Mayor, couldn't Hamilton County just waive that instead of going through the whole state process? Couldn't they have waived?
Oh, they could have if they chose, yeah, I mean, I suppose, yeah, county could do anything.
I'd say that probably in their economic development to the state, that was probably the part of the selling point in the package to get Volkswagen to come to Hamilton County, I'm assuming.
But none of that was communicated back to you or the commission, was it?
We had no idea.
Until
We
after
did.
the fact.
When it was passed.
A few days after that was passed, we did have a copy of that bill.
They've obviously worked on this for a while, because they made a sticker, they had it all created, they took money they knew was coming to us, they sidelined it to where it could be paid back before everything could be stipulated.
Yeah.
And until the questions were asked, is the only way we're getting the 22,000 that's coming to us. I mean,
And we don't know what that's for yet.
That's
really.
exactly,
it's a good calculated,
that's got,
And it took,
misleading plan they did.
y'all were trying to call down there, and it took a state senator getting involved before they would ever,
Well, I think Bart's research and getting on their website, their state licensure.
you know,
Well, we made a few, we did get a hold of a few people that,
Yeah.
they did tell us, yes, we started doing it. But he's,
when the Smyrna office, of course, most of it was done in Smyrna office because it was right there with
Right.
them, you know. And when those figures weren't showing up, the figures were down. So we got to look at, and I couldn't find what this generic thing looked like till I finally found one. And then when I went to run it, I couldn't find where it belonged to. So I had to go through the state to find out whose that is, you know. You know, like ours says Rutherford County on it, you know.
so let me ask this question, and I'm gonna play the part here. Say one of your deputies, Sheriff, was need to find and run a tag in case someone that drives one of these cars done something illegally.
Yeah.
The law enforcement people can't get,
I couldn't run, I run mine through the sheriff's when I can't run through our office, you know. He's on the state side, he can
Right.
pull it up too, you know. My office can just pull up local.
it'll just
So
pull
it'll
up
be
this
on-
on.
It'll pull something this on and.
Yeah, it'll be on the.
so it would come up on the state side on law enforcement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I misunderstood
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Just the same if somebody would have re-registered their vehicle in McMinnville but lived here,
Right.
it wouldn't show in their system, it'll show in the state system because they would have turned it in.
Okay, all right.
Which is, what they're saying is against the law, but it's all right for them to do it because they're the
Right.
state side of it and keep the money.
Right.
Of course, everybody is down revenue, and we all know that state, counties and all, but, you know, you're hitting us with a kind of double lick, you know, just cause, you know.
Right. All right, we got a motion and a second on the floor to send the steering. Is anyone,
We're done.
we're past that? Okay. All right. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Juvenile detention. Did we prove his report?
Yes.
We did, okay. Thank you.
Well, you did not actually approve his report, but you did approve, because he didn't really talk about anything in there, y'all just went ahead and started talking about.
Okay. Let's go ahead and take a motion to approve his report then.
So moved.
All right, is there a second? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. I was thinking we only had one. Thank you. All right.
Okay, good evening, gentlemen. This is the report from the month of December, and I will happily answer any questions and tell you that I've got 3 counties that currently owe, and they are Coffee, Franklin, and Trousdale, but we don't expect to have any problems collecting from those counties. And because it was at the last minute, I also am going to have a budget amendment when we're done with this.
Any questions on her report? If none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
And a second. Discussion? Since y'all-
What is it? A normal average for a year of people in detention?
About 30.
30.
Daily average is generally 30. We're running slightly lower than that, but it's generally 30.
Does that mean that everything in this state is hunky-dory now? Is that what it is?
No, I talked to the judge a little bit about it last month, and there's a couple different factors. The juvenile probation office for the county, the youth services office, has implemented a new program for status offenders, which is helping a little bit. And they also had some sort of mandate from the state regarding absences and truancies, and they had to give them extra time because of the swine flu, and that threw some things off. So as far as we can tell, it's a combination of those two things.
Lynn, when those juveniles are in there, how much, do they have some classroom activity or anything?
Yes, we meet the state minimum for education in juvenile detention centers, and that's 2 hours a day.
Okay.
All right, is any other questions? We got a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
I apologize for not having copies. I'm going to give the one that I have to the secretary when we're done. I took it to the mayor's office late this afternoon, and he just recently signed it, and I can't find a copy machine. The doors are all locked. So what I do have is we would like to move from within our budget $2,521 from our attendance line item, and that goes into 3 different line items to cover for vacation and comp time for employees that have recently left and moved on to greener pastures.
You said attendance?
Well, it's called attendance. We don't have anything
Oh,
called
attendance.
detention officer
Oh, okay.
line
I
item.
thought it said attendance. I'm thinking.
Well, it is attendance, but that's just what it's called.
Okay, all right. So it's basically within your budget?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you've heard the request. What's the will of the committee?
Motion approved.
Got a motion, to have a second?
Second.
And a second. All right, discussion. Hearing or seeing none, call the roll.
Commissioner Black? Commissioner Daniel?
Yes.
Commissioner Hall?
Aye.
Commissioner Petty?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Sparks?
Yes.
Commissioner Farley?
Yes.
Do you take that even though it has copies?
Anything else?
No, that's
All
it.
right, thank you.
Thank you.
OSHA report. But you got that right in front of you. On your desk.
Yes, I already placed it there in front of you. For the month of December, we had 14 injuries requiring medical attention. The breakdown you'll see there listed for you. For the year to date, we had 242. Of those 242, 160 of them were OSHA recordable. 53 of them had restricted days. We had 40 that had lost days, and then 67 others were recorded as others. Next page will show you the graphic for this year as compared to the last 2 years. And we were down for the month of December.
What's the reason for it? I mean, there's a big dip from August all the way down to December.
Well,
what's that in relation to?
I like to chalk it up to safety awareness. In the month of December, myself and Tim Street got together
And we actually did a blitz in the month of December. I mean, we were sending out weekly safety topics and things like that, just trying to create a safety aware. December has always been one of the high months, and we really put a big push on now. Again, the weather may have cooperated also for us some too, so, but it is encouraging. So, if you would notice, the next page just has a list. The total incurred for those 14 injuries for the month of December was $25,350. That breaks down on the next page. The Board of Education had 10 injuries, and the total incurred for those 10 was $22,750. And then County General had the other 4, and the total incurred on that was $2,600 to make that up. We completed the year, and therefore we posted our OSHA 300A form. Had to be posted in all the buildings. That's been completed, signed by the mayor, and it's been distributed to all the safety coordinators in all the buildings, and it's been posted. And that'll be up and posting from February the 1st through April the 30th.
How does that compare to 08?
Truthfully, it is much lower as far as in 08. We had 43 injuries that were classified as indemnity claims, meaning they had lost time to them, while in the 2009 we only had 20, so that's a reduction of 50%. So we are quite a bit lower on restricted days and lost time days. So we have 43 versus 20, so it's much better this year.
How many more employees do we have? Difference.
I know. I mean, that's good. 50 to 75, if I remember correctly. It wasn't an astronomical amount, but I do believe it was 50 to 75. But I'll double check that and let you know.
My point is that we had more employees and less.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think we've done quite a bit this year as far as a number of things on safety to try and promote that and try again hold those injuries down. So, even though if you really want to know, the count is up slightly, the nature of the injuries are less. They're not as severe as what they have been in the past. And again, if you're watching for those things, that happen. Also in your package, you'll notice that we've come out with our second quarterly newsletter. Wanted to bring you a copy of that. It has been posted on the internet. It's posted on the site, and we've sent it out through email dispersion. Also, I want to bring your attention, we've had our second Rutherford County Safety Award, and that was awarded to, Adam Dodd, yes. And it says here, we'd like to recognize Adam Dodd, who is responsible for the preventive work orders pertaining to safety standards in the county buildings. Each month, Adam inspects the building's fire control systems to include fire extinguishers, sprinklers, and lighting. He also escorts the fire, sprinkler, and elevator inspectors during the inspection of the county buildings and corrects all infractions on the spot. He does this in addition to his growing list of work orders, while at the same time having his efforts go mostly unnoticed. Adam's eye for detail and his concern for his fellow employees ensures Rutherford County buildings are a safe place to work or visit. Just to let you know that these, we send out applications to all the safety coordinators and to the supervisors and ask them to provide us with possible candidates. We get those applications back in. We have a panel of 3 or 4, depending on how they come in, that we submit those applications to. That's not done by our office. The panel actually selects the candidate or the applicant that receives that award, and then we would then prepare, of course, go ahead and proceed with that. The first 2 we've been able to go through the mayor's office and get them presented and things. We're going to start tomorrow. We have the quarterly service awards. We're going to recognize the first 2, and then from there on, going each quarter, our candidate will also be in the County Service Awards presentation that comes out of the HR department. So just let you know that that's going on also.
Any questions? If there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Is that it?
That's it, thank you very much.
Thank you. Ambulance service, Mike? Thank you, sir. Ready whenever you are.
We made 1,692 calls for the month of December. That's an average response time of 7.4 minutes, 33 coroner's calls. We billed $1,044,965 and collected $428,479. That gives us a year-to-date collections of $2,619,878 and puts us on a projection of $5,239,756, which is a little bit over last year, and that's a good thing. We had insurance write-offs, $291,242, collection agency write-offs of $114,636, $3,535 for county employees and so forth. The table at the bottom of the page is the operating costs for the ambulances and the significant repairs that were done during the month, as well as breakdowns. We drove a total of 29,458 miles. We had 284 out-of-zone calls.
And Mike, on the normal station unit shutdowns, we had 24 shifts, and it's the north end supervisor?
No, that's not unit shutdown. We did have 24 shifts of vacancies in the north end supervisor.
Well, I guess that's for the whole month.
As far as actual station shutdowns, Salem Road didn't have coverage for 25.5 hours and Siegel for 19 hours.
I guess with the south end supervisor, I guess, is helping cover the whole county.
Right. Whenever the supervisor's out here, we bring the north end down here.
Right.
The next page is in-services and training. Those are listed for you. React events and the sort team activities for the month. Following page is the response time reports by station, as far as number of calls as well as the response time for each individual station. For a total of 1,692 calls. The page after that is calls broken down by commissioners' districts, as well as the critical transport team calls. Most of those transport calls generated from Middle Tennessee Medical Center, Stonecrest Medical Center, the VA hospital. Next page is just simply a year-to-date. And we have several commendation or thank you type letters.
There was also one in the paper that talked about, actually, a couple of those on the ambulance, and actually it's 4 our guys at Murfreesboro when on the Demas family. Yeah, there is Premier Scott Brown won the Public Servant of the Week.
I think that's likely he won that.
Yeah, he's a good medic. Anybody have any questions?
We're behind, we have 4 openings.
Is the, I know we're advertising for paramedics year-round now. How are we comparable to other counties as far as?
We do a little bit better than most counties. There's just a general shortage of paramedics, and so, you know, I think everyone's done about the same as we do. We keep an ad on our website the whole time.
Okay.
Are you having the opens, the 4 openings you have, are they all paramedics?
No, but we're going to fill those positions with EMTs. Some of them are paramedic positions, but we have several paramedics that are in school right now, and will be graduating in July. So we can save a little bit of money in our personnel line item by doing it that way. Plus, it assures that they have the ability to move into a paramedic position rather than having to go somewhere else. Okay.
Is this, I know this right here gets to be, is bigger and bigger every month. On the vacation and personnel denied.
I think that'll probably be the biggest list that you see until we hit end of school around May or something like that. But this was right at Christmas time. As I said, we have several openings that just prevent us. We'll give them their vacation, but we just had to deny specific requests. We give as many as we can.
Yeah, there's from time to time I have to do the same thing. Anybody else got any questions for Mike? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Motion in a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. You got something else?
Yeah, on the back.
I have a budget amendment request, and this is just putting money back into accounts from payment that we've received from MTSU as well as the school system for special events.
Basically, some money coming in, huh?
About,
couple of months in a row, ain't it?
we usually have, well, there's only been 1 month that we haven't had any, so.
Y'all have heard the request. Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the budget request.
Is there a second?
Second.
And a second. Discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Black?
Yes.
Commissioner Daniel?
Yes.
Commissioner Hall?
Yes.
Commissioner Key?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Sparks?
Yes.
Commissioner Farley?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Correctional Work Center.
Come on up, Lieutenant.
Welcome.
Since this is Lieutenant Salandi's first appearance, I just wanted to say a few things introductory. First of all, I just want to say how pleased we are with having him as our interim superintendent. He's doing an excellent job. He's very professional. He's thorough. And you can see by the size of him, I don't think anybody's giving him any back talk, you might say. But he's just really doing a professional job. And I want to say also thank you to our sheriff and all of his support team down there for sharing Lieutenant Solandi with us, and he's been a tremendous asset and accomplishing a lot of really good things, and we're moving in the right direction. So with that being said, I'm going to let him tell you what he wants to tell you today, but I appreciate what he's doing.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Thank you, sir. There's a copy here.
Look like the number of everything's down in December compared to what it was in November, or actually the previous 2 or 3 months, right?
Right. The population is kind of waving right now due to a slower number coming in from the SO, and then, releases, just through attrition, time served, but it's fluctuating between what I've seen in the 190s to, I think we got up to the highest number I've seen count-wise was 228 last week. So
everything went pretty smooth for you out there?
yes, it's going on pretty fine. So a lot of good people there, just getting to know each other and setting some policies.
You have a nurse on call 24 hours a day?
No, sir. It's, they work 12-hour shifts. They're there from 7 to 7.
Okay. And that, a nurse, just quick division, it seems roughly from anywhere from about 12 to 15 to 18
on a daily basis.
Prisoners on a daily basis.
Yeah, roughly. That's about average.
Trash pickup, Lieutenant. I know we had one. Did they ever put through that?
Well, we haven't quite paid out yet all the benefits of the person that was deceased, but we have that covered with the full-time person on a temporary basis from the solid waste department is providing the drivers.
Correct. Lieutenant, how do you, after the work crew comes in, how are they processed back in as far as making sure they're not bringing anything?
What we try to do, what we do is they completely disrobe. We do what we call a visual body search. There's no hands-on. It's pretty much what it says, visual, and then we change them into new clothing. Even the shoes and everything is put away in a separate area, and then they actually enter their housing areas.
Yeah.
So it's a process that has some issues, but we're working on that, to get a little tighter grip on it, because that's one of my pet peeves.
Anyone else? I've got a motion to approve the report. Is there a second? And a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I think it's got a budget amendment.
Yes, we do.
Basically taking this out of existing lieutenant line item. I think because that's a vacancy. Is that right?
Right, presently, yes.
And then moving it over to prisoners' clothing. Do we have any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve. I read their minutes through there, and it's just something that came up short for the year, like they transferred in their budgets. Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Black?
Yes.
Commissioner Daniel?
Yes.
Commissioner Hall?
Yes.
Commissioner Teague?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Sparks?
Yes.
Commissioner Farley?
Yes. Anything this committee can do to help you in your transition out there, you feel free to call any of us. I know you got a work center board out there that's willing to work with you, and this committee will be more than glad to help you in any way.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Sheriff Department. Sheriff, you got anything?
I really don't have anything. Unless you've got any questions for me.
This is the first.
Where are we at on the range?
Getting close.
That's good up
We're, you know, when you get a extremely low bid, it always ends up in a lengthy process. But we're still holding the money, and we're making sure that everything is done according to specs and the way it should be. They really have done a pretty good job. We've had a few setbacks, not just the weather, but dealing with all the people that we're having to deal with. But Mark Rogers is doing a good job managing the building process. So we're happy with that, and we're probably, I don't want to put a timeline on it because every time I do, it seems to extend out. But I think we're going to be in it probably in February, hopefully. We got everything ready. We've done a number of checks. Steve Spence has really been on top of it and done an excellent job making sure that everything's done the way it should be done. And we've had a lot of cooperation, and thank goodness that it was a combined partnership, and that's the way these things seem to work better. And as you can see, we're losing a good man temporarily. He's doing a tremendous job over there, and I think the mayor will attest to that.
Who's next? Citizens Academy.
We got one coming up real soon. I can't give you an exact date, but they've already got about 23 or 24 people that are going to attend the academy, and we're always happy to have that open up. It's a lot of fun for us.
How's your Facebook account coming along? Get a lot of interest.
It's the largest one in the state of Tennessee law enforcement right now.
I had forwarded on to several people I knew, and people they didn't want to sign on it. They were like, I'm not signing on. Like, well, that's some good news out there, good tips.
Good news, and it's a lot of fun. And you'd be surprised. I mean, of course, with you signing on it, you know what's already on it. But there's a lot of information to be pulled off of it.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, we've got some bright people. I can't take credit for any of that.
Mayor's next. I think Mayor's going to start.
Have you signed up? Oh. Okay.
Anybody else got any questions?
I do want to compliment the fire department for Mr. Brandon's funeral. It was really very well done. I've attended a number of law enforcement funerals, but this is the fire department is right up there, and I know everybody was pleased as they could be.
Now,
Very professional.
Mr. Brandon, you talking about?
Yeah, Mr. Willie Blaine
Okay.
Brandon. You were there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because we've been to two different funerals now.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to make sure we.
Dressed in fancy uniform, right?
Who's the membership color guard?
We have about 10 or 12 of them that are in there, and they rotate.
They done a good job.
Brandon's funeral. I think they do too. We're very fortunate to have the people that we have over there.
And Sheriff, speaking of that, I appreciate you saying that because we felt like that Mr. Brandon was an extremely, one of the most passionate, caring men that in Rutherford County, and we felt we need to come up here and pay our respects to him. Also, too, I want to hand it to your department and also to the mayor for allowing him to lie and stay up here at the courthouse. He deserved it. He took care of this courthouse for a long time for the citizens out there and for all of us, and for you allowing your honor guard to stand there with him and look over him, and that was a lot of respectful and very nice, and he deserved it.
Well, they were honored to be here. They really were.
There's not too many people that had the work ethic of Mr. Willie.
No. Oh, you're exactly right. He would be a great role model for everyone.
Yeah. I told Commissioner McAdoo up here that day, I said he's laying there, and they said he's 103 years old. And I said, I'm 53, and I said, he looks better than I do.
That's the truth.
That's the truth.
We'd be already. Unsolicited testimony.
Anybody else? You got anything else, Sheriff?
That's fine.
All right.
But I appreciate you guys. I really do.
Thank you. All right. Is there any other business come before the committee tonight? If not, we stand adjourned. Thank y'all.